Still fighting. The selective Demos' sword Kratos got sent flying away, and I was now at one versus.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.
The ground.
Welcome to yet another edition of the Lambom Show. Today is Saturday, October 28th, and I wanted to start off by wishing somebody who does not know that today is his birthday, Jude. Today is a solemnity of St. Jude, and I'm glad that we are doing this on the day that's the feast day. And I think I also just learned that tomorrow is Dr. David's birthday. Am I right? Good. So happy feast day, Jude, and happy birthday in advance. So
Thank you.
it's quick occasion. I've never had 10 people on my show at once. This is the first time, and I've been running this for 3 4 years. It's a wonderful pleasure for me to host the Mendem Foundation and their implementation partners in Cameroon. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it Royal or Royalty Group? You guys need to introduce yourself. But we are here to talk about education. We're here to talk about education in Cameroon. For those who do not know where Cameroon is located, very often people meet me here and say, "Hey, where are you from?" "Hey, from Cameroon." "Where is that?" Some people located in West Africa, others located in Central Africa. For the sake of those who want to locate Cameroon appropriately, is the closest neighbors to Nigeria. And Cameroon has had a crisis running for the last 7 years, since 2016. That is when there was an escalation of the political crisis. And those who are used to crisis will know that in every crisis, there's a spillover effect into all the sectors. And one of the sectors we have found that has been greatly impacted is education. Education, especially in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Today, we want to talk about the problems in that sector, but also, more importantly, talk about the solution. If you want to talk about the problem, everybody should be able to define the problem of education in Cameroon, especially in the crisis region. But I'm sure for this broadcast to get its place, we need to situate it and give it a scientific context because everybody can put it in their own way, isn't it? Remember, part of this crisis started off as a result of teachers and lawyers going on strike, and then it morphed into something else. A small problem that was not handled,
Sorry,
then
you say,
went
but
on it
I
went
think
on to different locations, and today we have this whole crisis. So today, two groups, Diaspora, most of them are based in the United States, Cameroonians based in the United States, and those who are implementing the programs in Cameroon.
Dysfunctional families. Unemployed.
Can you hold on to that for a minute? There's somebody whose sound is making some noise in the background there. I don't know you guys. Let me do something. Do you need?
can we all mute? I think someone has background. I don't know who has background on.
Good. Thank you. Sorry about that. But like I was saying, we are going to talk about education in Cameroon, specifically in the northwest and southwest regions that have been in crisis mode for 7 years. And every crisis now impacts the community, the society. And today we have the diaspora trying to come in to help. They call them bushfallers. They are not only coming to, drink and dine, but also looking for solutions. I have read somewhere that the greatest billionaires are people who identify a problem and they bring forth a solution to it. If you want to be a billionaire, look for a problem. And once you are able to identify the solution to that problem, you become a billionaire. And so I think the Mendem Foundation and the Royalty Society, sorry if I'm not calling that society, I know you are not going to find me because it's on my show. So you guys are billionaires because you identified a problem and then you have brought forth a solution, and that's what we are here to talk about. I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves, beginning with Jeffrey. And unmute yourself.
Hello, I'm Jeffrey Cheney, medical doctor located here in Alabama, and standing in as president of Mendem Foundation.
So again, I told everybody backstage that you should tell me your title so that I use it, because again, my title is Mr. When you want
Royalty
to
World.
Mr. Good, thank you. So, Dr. Jeffrey, thank you for coming on board, the president of Mendem Foundation. I am presuming you are a Shesan, am I right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So let's go over to Dr. Cletus. Unmute yourself, Doc.
My name is Dr. Cletus Moma. I'm located here in Florida. I'm also one of the executives at Mendem Foundation.
Welcome, Doc. And we'll move over to, so we have moved from Alabama all the way to Florida. Let's go climb some mountains now. So let's get over to Colorado. Stars.
Hi guys, my name is Stars Penn. I'm all the way in the northern side of Colorado. I'm the educational program director of Mendem Foundation.
Yes, I was wrong to think that Mendem Foundation was only for Shesans. So again, but I know that it's controlled by Shesans. I'm glad about that. I went to Secretary for 2 years, so that gives me, I'm also a Shesan. So thank you, Stars. So now let's go over to the people in Cameroon. Let's start with Dr. Tebit. Dr. Pinyas, can you unmute yourself? Good.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mary Ann Tebit. I'm an educationist. I'm based in Boya. I work as a humanitarian worker and as a school administrator. Thank you.
Welcome, Doctor. I see Ngang. That's the only name I have on the screen. So,
hello everyone. My name is Ngango. I work for Royalty World as engagements and partnership officer, and Boya.
Very good.
Great. There's somebody next to you.
Yes. Hello, my name is Suru Emelda. I'm the programs coordinator for Royalty World, and I'm also based in Buya.
Thank you. Welcome. Am I missing anybody from the Cameroon side? Because I think this Vivian, your devices are not connected. Can you connect your mic and your camera, please? So, well, Ashu, are you able to come on? Okay, I think Ashu is still trying to get. Okay, thank you.
No, I'm here. I'm here. I guess you're not seeing me very well, but my name is Mokate Ashu. I work with Jongo Hub. I'm the founder of Jongo Hub, and we are partners with Royalty World.
Thank you. And I'm glad that finally two very important people came on. Let's start with Vivian.
Okay. Hello. I'm Vivian Metsobdong. I'm a development professional. I work as consultant at Royalty World. I'm based in Douala.
Welcome. You can also speak in French if you want. I'll translate for you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll let Doris introduce herself and tell us about Royalty World. Then we go over to the Kijems, who are going to take over and talk about the Mendem Foundation. Miss Doris, glad to see you.
Hi, Lambert. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, my name is Doris Ngum. I am a visionary and executive director of Royalty World. Royalty World is the development-focused organization, and we're driving social change through transformation from the inside out. You know, as you get older, you start thinking about the impact and the legacy that you want to create, we want to leave. And for me, I got worried about the state of my nation, and especially being in diaspora, there was a cry in my heart. I saw that where I was, I didn't see as much resources as I know my country has, but yet they call us poor. So what's the reason for that? And for me, in meditating and thinking about that, I understood that the problem was not anything, it wasn't a lack of resources as much as it was a mindset, the way people think. And that became my mission to come into my community and to drive development and drive social change by transforming people, awakening people to a true sense of identity. So that's really what Royalty World is about. We have that vision where we see thriving and prosperous communities, and we know that it cannot happen by aid. It's not going to happen because somebody's going to do it for us, but it's about us taking that responsibility. That's why Royalty World has a mission to empower communities, empower Africans for transformative actions. So we operate in three principal thematic areas. Education is priority for us. Because if the kids are not educated, without an education, we can't translate these natural resources we have into tangible wealth. And
Okay, so again, I'm going to be apologizing a lot during this show because of connectivity issues. You're going to have when you have people across the continent, it's always difficult. So, Doris, sorry, we lost you. You want to come back on? You want to complete your thought? What you were saying there, Doris? She back. Okay, so while she's taking her time there, let's get to the real people, the Mendem. Jude, by the way, thank you for seeking out the Lambom show to host this. I'm appreciative of that, and thank you for all the work the Mendem Foundation is doing. I'm going to talk about Royalty World in a minute, but thank you for that. It's a service that is, you can't put a price tag on it. You can't put, and I'm glad that Madame is sitting right there to show that she too is part of this thing. You know, it's not just something that you're taking away some family time. But introduce yourself and then tell us about the Mendem Foundation, and then there's a video you want to play for Royalty World. Okay, so talk about the Mendem Foundation, introduce yourself and your beautiful wife, and then let's roll.
Hi everyone, my name is Jude Kijem, and I am the chairman of Mendem Foundation, and we are very, very happy to be here today and to bring this good message to everyone. And in Mendem Foundation, we are all about, the focus is Cameroon. How do we maintain sustainable development in Cameroon through, education, entrepreneurship, and proper healthcare? We all know the unique situation that we find in our country, and we think it's incumbent on us to arrest the problem and not look for external sources to bring that solution to us. So we see ourselves as that group in the diaspora, trying to rally the diaspora and other organizations in the diaspora to help the situation that we have back home. And it's been an amazing journey so far, with so much support, and we are hoping to get more and more support. Our focus area, again, mainly education. We got peer poverty. We have, entrepreneurial work that we do, trying to get people back to work. And I would just end that brief introduction by saying that on the ground, the implementation is Royalty World, and they play a very, very critical role in this process. And so you will keep hearing Mendem Foundation Royalty World throughout this conversation, because it goes hand in hand in implementing the work. Mendem Foundation was initially started by the class of 91 of Sacred Heart College, and now it's open to everybody, and we have some very, very dynamic people who have joined, especially ladies, one of who is next to me right here, and you just heard from Stars, and there are many more. And the doors are open to everybody to be part of this movement, and let's help our country and help kids in need. Yeah, that would be it.
So yeah, I was going to say that you're about to escape from the house. Okay.
I'll let Madam.
Exactly.
My name is Nande Patience Kijem. I am part of the executive at Mendem Foundation as well, and he pretty much said it all. We truly believe in transformational work back home. We certainly see that it begins from us and no one else. So we're hoping that through this platform, we will be able to get a lot more partners and a lot more people out there in the world join us in this cause, because it's important and it's really where the world needs to turn to. Thank you.
Good. So, Jude, I know we on one of our shows we talked about the Mendem Foundation. I really wanted you to talk about the name. How did you come about that name, Mendem? Because it sounds like you were just dealing with some Mendem somewhere, and so how did you arrive at that name?
Well, it was I'll call it a term of endearment that we used when we were back in school, to strengthen that camaraderie between us. Of course, right from Kijem, we talk about woman them. Sorry, Melda, can you mute? Somebody needs to mute the
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
it's like, we talk about men and women, them picking them. So in school, we used to say men them, and it was like a rally cry to, bring your guys together, or call, bring them to a particular attention to something. So it just became that word that we used throughout. I know it was coined by some classes ahead of us, but we came into school, had that word, and used it throughout our stay in Sacred Heart. So when we left school, our WhatsApp group is Mendem group. We have an investment group, Mendem. It's our Mendem investment group. So it was just a natural progression for us when we came to this idea of the foundation. So we named it Mendem Foundation in memory of that. So that's how it came about.
So congratulations to class of 1991. I think it's a great initiative that you guys are running, and I wanted to give the opportunity. Imelda, Cyril, can you introduce yourself, and then you have the tape for the royalty word. Am I right, Jude? So get that ready. Then Cyril, can you introduce yourself? Did you already do? Are you the one to talk about the royalty?
Yes, I did introduce myself.
Good. So you are supposed to say something about the royalty thing, but let's play on the thing, and then we can.
All right, let me get that ready.
So Doris, immediately after this, I know you got cut off in the middle of your introduction. Let's pick it up from there. Okay, let's just watch this little intro about royalty, and then we can take it from there.
Okay, thank you.
All right, can you guys see my screen? I'm hoping.
We can't.
Oh, you can or you cannot?
I know what the problem is. Okay.
All right, I'll play it right now.
Okay.
What are the realities of vulnerable communities in Africa?
There are so many life challenges in rural communities in Cameroon.
Dysfunctional family conditions,
Limited economic opportunities,
adult illiteracy at its peak in crisis regions,
high rate of teenage pregnancy,
period poverty,
alarming substance misuse,
increased crime rate.
Our rural communities are trapped in a cycle of systemic poverty.
What's the solution?
What can I do?
What can you do?
What can we do?
What drives us?
It's the motivation, it's the passion.
Is it passion that makes you forget everything else?
It's the impact of millions of people by doing one small thing.
Is the responsibility to do whatever you can?
It's taking the risk, no matter the cost.
Is the courage to stand up for what is right?
It's the quest for success.
Is the feeling of a possibility mindset?
It's recognizing that we are all in this together.
It's a simple idea and step that changes everything.
It's going beyond what's been done before.
Is a drive to see the invisible and create the impossible.
It's out of 2030 when we are asking most communities out of school.
7 in 10 girls do not use something.
We believe in our part with positive change.
We believe royalty law, career parents, and dignity ambassadors are building a better future for young girls.
We are the change we wish to see.
We are the solution.
At Royalty World, we believe today, thriving communities lies within each and every one of us. It is an era where others is treasure. Education is power.
We mobilize dignity ambassadors to drive social change in community through a holistic transformation inside out. We seek to awaken a sense of identity in community members, unleash human potentials in our youth, equip the people with sound moral values and principles so that they are empowered to use their gifts in contributing meaningfully to society.
What are our chief development solutions? The Royalty Scholarship Program.
We are reducing adolescent and adult illiteracy by giving girls access to education.
Restore Her Dignity Program.
We empower young girls to rise above stigma and taboos surrounding menstruation, limitations and barriers that prevent girls from becoming community transformation agents.
The Royalty Daycare.
We improve the livelihood of working mothers, enabling them to work productively and school effectively by providing a safe space for their kids.
The Royalty Coaching Academy.
We train youth unable to undertake formal educational paths to develop basic proficiency, literacy, functional leadership, and business skills for improved livelihood.
The Royalty Business Breakfast.
A monthly faith-based business network event designed to inspire visionaries, change makers, and leaders towards transformational entrepreneurship.
Royalty Community Projects.
We engage individuals, civil society, corporate and government institutions to intensify impact within communities for tangible and measurable results.
This is Royalty's World Framework.
This is our roadmap to change the world.
Join the transformation trail today.
But how can I get involved?
How can I be part of this movement?
Become a beauty ambassador today. Help a girl escape fear of poverty by sponsoring a dignity campaign. Become a career parent. Join a scholarship program. Invest in the education of leaders. Contact us to subscribe and choose a comfortable goal. Mobilize families and friends. Join our social media community. Sponsor a project.
Royalty World.
Transforming communities, one heart at a time.
Wow, that is excellent. And I love the part that you have to, Jude, make sure you put the Momo number. That's the most important part of this event. The Momo number should be on, okay? And I was glad we were able to, outline the many problems and then the solutions that you are suggesting. What can I do? What can we do? Isn't it? Passion. Do whatever you can. Courage. Possibility mindset and all that. Great. Dr. Doris, this is at this is your work, isn't it? So tell us, we cut you in the middle while you were trying to introduce yourself. So let's get back to you to hear about this dream. What is this all about beyond the videos that we have heard? Scholarships, restoring dignity, daycare, working mothers, the academy, all in one.
Yeah.
How are you accomplishing
all in one? Yes, so I'd say that I am the face, but then it's because of a strong team. It's because of a people who are mobilizing themselves. It's because of all of us, because of you, Mendem Foundation. That's why we're doing this. And but then it started off by that desire to not only highlight the problems, because as Cameroonians we are specialists in saying this is wrong, oh, our president has done it again and all of that. But like, the question is, what can I do? And that was a question I started asking myself. And I discovered that as a nation, we are really an embodiment of resources, Africa in miniature. But why are we poor? And so in my mind, I started dreaming of what is the Cameroon I see? I see a thriving, prosperous, and sustainable community. But then how can this happen? It can only happen by, first of all, inspiring each and every one of us to awaken to who we truly are, to educate our minds, to believe that it's possible, to believe that we are that change, we are the change, to stop blaming, yes, the colonial masters did this to us and all of that, but then taking the lead and being able to identify what our own unique role is in building the nation that we want to live in. And so that's really the philosophy of Royalty World. We are building communities by empowering Africans with transformative action, which is why the first and the most important thing that we focused on was education. We saw that our communities were ruined because most of the young people, 8 out of 10 girls we spoke with in the community were not going to school, and that was a problem. Now, now we may be fighting for the wrong reasons, but the thing is, are we equipped to transform our communities, or to be able to have the economic power that we need to escape poverty? And if we can't educate ourselves, then it's a problem. And if we cannot educate our young people, then we are only planning for more ruined communities. So that's why we took on education as a priority. And we knew that it was not about the resources we had. We just had to take that leap of faith and identify those who really wanted to go back to school and see how we could engage. In my case, I had just come back from the UK. So I thought, I have friends in diaspora. How do I mobilize Cameroonians to see that we can come together and make this thing happen? And that's what has happened. The Cameroonians have taken it on, and you get people like Jude who believed in me, and they started just spreading the word and sharing the message. And so since then, we've had over 200 kids go back to school. And yeah, but when they started going back to school, especially within the crisis setting, my community, Bolifamba, where I am, has about 15,000 IDPs, within this community. So you can imagine, it just magnifies the level of poverty that's here. Because now, rather than one person in a house, we now have 6 people living in one household, and most of them, they are actually run by female heads. Who maybe are struggling, and some of them have lost their husbands in the crisis, and their husbands have lost their jobs, and their husbands are taking it on them. So gender-based violence is a big thing now within the community, because where they used to have their power economically is no longer the case. Now they're taking on the women, and the ripple effect is on the kids. So in helping the women, we started thinking, what is a sustainable solution? And that is why we thought about economically empowering the women. So far we've trained over 100 women, or well, close to 100 women. And, we are grateful for people like Dr. Cletus Muma, who would come in and decide to provide, with the support of other organizations like CRE, we've had over 30 women who have been given seed capital to start up businesses. So the hope is that in the next few years, these women will become, viable, and they can take care of their kids, will not need to sponsor their kids again. So it's a holistic approach. Now, some of them, we also have income generating activities, work with people like Dr. Chenny Jeffrey, and we have a factory where we produce washable pads, and we're also starting a cooperative to help some of these women, transform their cassava into gari and water fufu. So, as we improve that value chain and we add value to it, that's how their income level as well also improves, and it improves their livelihood. So that's the whole objective. And so it's the kids, then this is the mother of the kids. The mothers of the kids now are looking at how do we improve their lives. And so we have those initiatives. The hope is that in the future, we can raise so much revenue from there that we don't need to go around and be asking others to support our initiatives. And yeah, so that's the economic empowerment side of it. But then protection is also very important, in the sense most of these women, yes, some of them work at the pad production work factory. Some of them work at the cooperative, and some of the kids were raped during the crisis, and they wanted to go back to school. But what happens with these kids now that they now have, who maybe don't really have fathers that are looking after them? And that is why we thought that it was necessary for us to have a daycare. So we have a daycare where the kids are kept. We keep their kids while their moms go to either work or they go to school. So principally, those are the three thematic areas that we work in: education, economic inclusion, and protection. And under protection as well, period poverty for most of the girls who cannot afford pads. We produce the pads, and then again, we Mendem Foundation run campaigns to raise funds to sponsor these pads into communities where girls cannot really afford it. So yeah, so that's our work, and the biggest thing is about empowering these kids to become leaders. And we want to do it for them, but we want them to know that tomorrow they will do it for others. And we believe that if we all put our resources and put our hands together, then the narrative of our nation will change. We can't wait for aid. It's not helping us, but we can stand up for our nation. And I think Loyalty World is a platform that gives us the opportunity to do that.
So there's one thing that you said I want to, I want to applaud your courage to have left the UK and gone back to Cameroon. I don't even know what even took you back there, but to have lived in the UK and then decided that you're going to go back, because like I tell most of us, we die here. We are going to there's no going back to any place. So I really want to applaud your courage that you went, studied, and saw some good things and decided that you're going to go back and give back. Most of us have very genuine reasons why we cannot and will never go back to that. But I applaud that courage. And like the Mendem Foundation, Dr. Cletus, Dr. Jeffrey, Dr. Cletus, you didn't even talk about the organization, because I think this is one of those organizations that came up as a result of the crisis. Am I right? I'm glad to hear that you guys are partnered with them. But again, for me, it's very important that giving back does not need you to be in Cameroon. Okay, you can give back because you have somebody on the ground who understands. We have many. If you want to talk about why people should not, every Cameroonian will give you a reason, isn't it? When it comes to removing the money, that becomes a problem. But I just wanted to applaud you. We have taken 30 minutes of our time just talking in general about Mendem. Let's get to the meat of it, isn't it? Education. You said there are three aspects: your education, your empowerment, and entrepreneurial. But let's focus on education. I think Dr. Tebit, this is your baby. Your education is what you told us that is your specialty. What is the problem with education? And I want to start off by saying, when I heard about being holistic, I thought that you were now telling students to do history, literature, and then you add some math and biology. That makes it holistic because arts and science. That's what I was thinking. That's the holistic thing. Because at the end of the day, the thing in most of African countries, in Cameroon, we went to school, and when you failed maths twice, they put you in the art class. They said, this one, just go and be reading your history. And then and then the career paths, isn't it? If you did history, literature, we were sure where you were going to end. A teacher or something, that's where you were going. And one of my friends, again here, we went to a graduation at Catholic University. The history department, there were 5 students graduating that year, 5, history. And then we compared to UB, University of Boya, that same year, I think they had over 600 people graduating from the Department of History. And we were like, these people are studying history to do what? They're going to do what with that history? And you have seen people who they told us to draw and label a cockroach, isn't it? I've never seen where that has helped me to do anything. So back to you. Besides the problems of curriculum and all that, what are the problems that we are encountering with education in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon?
Thank you very much, We will not go back to the background of the crisis in Cameroon. A lot has been said about it. I'm just going to proceed by looking at, for us to understand, it's better we understand this current situation. From the current situation, and then we can pick out the problems and the needs for education, or the needs for education in the northwest and southwest region of Cameroon. From the presentation, we realized that, or from the onset of the crisis, we realized that education was used as a tool to make the government listen to the cry of the people. But unfortunately, the non-state armed groups, they took it as an advantage to put a complete halt on education. And this deprived about 700,000 children of their rights to education and protection. We all know that education is one mechanism that offers protection to children. So more than 700 children were deprived of their rights to education. And this was a lot for parents and communities to bear. However, by 2019, some communities initiated their own local ways to provide education in their communities. We had NGOs, INGOs, and UN bodies that came in to support education. And as of 2021 academic year, in the Northwest and Southwest region, we realized that we still had 66% of the schools that were shut down. This left more than 80% of children within this conflict-affected region and the fragile communities not to have access to education. However, by 2023, the situation was a bit better compared to 2019, that is 2022-2023 academic year, because the number of schools that were shut down reduced, and we had just about 54% of schools that were shut down. So with this, we still had about 418,381 children who could not access education still in the Northwest and Southwest region. However, with the interventions of education partners, we are talking about the state, we are talking about INGOs, we are talking about UN agencies, we are talking about local NGOs. In 2021, about 41% of children had access to education, that is basic education. For secondary education, we had 53% of the children, they could access education. But it was not only an issue with the children, because the teachers were also at risk, both in the Northwest and Southwest. So we had less than 56% of the teachers who could access secondary education in these regions. The same situation in 2022-2023 academic year, where the Northwest had 41% of the children accessing education. And we should understand that these children were mostly found in urban areas, which means that those children found in rural areas, especially in those fragile communities, could not still access education. So having that in mind, the education cluster looked at the whole situation together with partners, and I don't know whether you have a picture, my PowerPoint presentation, if you can project it, that will be fine. Let us look at the response plan, where we have about 1.5 million children who are in need of education. 1.3 are already out of school. And then go to the slide after that, where we have response plans. Thank you, that's it. We have 1.5 million children in need of education. 1.3 million children are out of school. Here we are targeting 940,000 children. And among these children, we have 225 of them who are IDPs. We should remember that these IDPs are found both in the conflict-affected regions and in the host communities. And these host communities are mostly the West region and the Littoral region. We should also understand here that in the host communities like Douala or Bafoussam, the presence of these children are overweighing on the educational system there. because the schools have a carrying capacity, and the influx of these IDPs has increased the carrying capacity of these schools, therefore posing problems not only on the children in that school, but also on the teachers. As of now, we still have 54% of the schools which are closed, which means there is limited access to education in these communities. Despite this challenge to access, we realize that a lot is being done by education partners. If we look at the updated data from the education cluster, we realize that in Cameroon, we have about 34 education partners who are intervening in the situation in the Northwest and Southwest region, and they are intervening in 12 divisions. As of September 2023, the target was about 380,400 children that was targeted for the month of September, but unfortunately, only 76,000 children were reached with education intervention, which means we have to step up our game and a lot still has to be done. Based on this background, I want us to look at the needs overview in this region. Like I earlier indicated, if we look at the number of schools that are open and the number of children that are accessing education, we realize that one of the principal needs in the conflict-affected region, that is Northwest and Southwest region, is that we need to increase access to education. Based on the information we have, we realize that children are out of school, schools are not open, and as a result, only a few who can afford education in either confessional or lay private schools can actually access this education. Given that in the rural communities, public schools have been shut down, what we have are community schools that are being managed by the communities. So, and in most of these community schools, what they are doing is mostly basic literacy and numeracy, because in emergency context, what we practice is education in emergency just to ensure that learning takes place while the crisis is ongoing. So what they actually do is just basic literacy and numeracy and life skills in those conflict-affected and fragile communities. So there is serious need to increase access to education for this vulnerable group of children. Not only in the rural communities, but in the urban communities as well, where we have formal education, because structures have been destroyed. The children cannot have access to schools. The few schools that are found in the urban areas are overloaded. I take an example of, at least we are Cameroonians, we know the BGS Moliko, Lycée Bileng. A class that has a carrying capacity of 60, it's now 120. So you can imagine the problems the teachers have teaching those children. We also have a problem of inadequate documentation to enable these children access functional schools. For some of these IDP children who have migrated or who have moved from the fragile communities to urban communities, most of them came without civil documents like the birth certificate. And in most of these schools, one of the conditions for enrollment is the presentation of your birth certificate. So some of these children do not have this birth certificate. And as a result, they cannot enroll into public schools, making them to be enrolled in private schools, of which their financial situation cannot permit them complete the fees of such schools. At the end of the day, these children end up still dropping out from school. We also have lack of wash facilities in schools and in community learning spaces. Remember, I earlier said communities develop their own coping mechanisms to ensure that children access education. So they establish temporary learning spaces or community schools so that these children can at least have access to education. But most of these facilities are void of wash facilities. So there is need, and we know the importance of wash on our health, water, sanitation, and hygiene. In addition, talking about increasing the access to education, we have to look at not only physical access, but also the facilities and the resources. For children to access education, they need resources, they need study materials, they need didactic materials. But the financial situation of the parents do not permit them to get study materials or didactic materials for these children. So there is a tendency that these children would go to school and drop out because they don't have materials. Some of them will not even go because they can't even afford the material. So the resources that are needed by these children to access education, whether at basic or at secondary level, is not available in most homes. In addition, yes, we know that we are in the Northwest and Southwest region, and in the Southwest region in particular, this is the region where we know about that agriculture is mostly practiced here. In some of those remote areas, the parents have left their means of livelihood, which is agriculture, and moved into the town. So they don't have a means of livelihood. They cannot support the children's feeding. They cannot support the children's education. As a result, these children have a serious challenge in relation to nutrition and studies. Also looking at increasing access, most often when we look at access to education, we are not looking at access only in relation to general education or basic education for children between the age of, say, 6 and 14. Yes, we had the crisis and we realized that some of the children dropped out and they've been out for 4 years. They are now overgrown. What do we do with these children? How do we create access for them? So we need to start looking at the possibility of initiating technical and vocational education and training. So these children who are overgrown, who've been out of school and cannot fit back into basic education, can fit into vocational education, so that at the end of the day, they can have a means of living. Another serious need or issue that is prevailing in both regions is protection and well-being. We understand that education offers protection. In emergency context, the first thing that is done is the creation of a child-friendly space, because we believe when children come there, they are safe, they will be they will have PSS, psychosocial support, and they can cope with the prevailing situation. But in the Northwest and Southwest region, this is not what is prevailing. These children need this protection, they need this support, but we have limited resources to support this. There are limited number of community workers that are trained on psychosocial support, both for formal and non-formal education. I want to reiterate here that although some organizations, I know NRC is doing it, LUMEF is doing it, I think a GPA is doing it, they are carrying out activities to train teachers for formal education on psychosocial support. There is still need for more to be done, because these children need psychosocial support. If they don't have it, then they will not be able to cope in school. We also have not only the psychosocial support, but the services, those who are well trained to provide these services, because it's not only about talking to the teachers. When they need particular services, do we have when we do referral, do we have the experts that can attend to these children? So those experts in this field are also not available, or not available, they are limited. Let me put it that way. They are limited to handle the psychosocial well-being of these children. We also have an issue of limited recreational materials, because for children to be reintegrated into the communities or the society, or to come out of trauma, because most of these children have gone through psychological trauma. Some have gone through post-stress disorder. So for some of them to come out, one of the things that are being done is to engage them into recreational activity. But to get these materials for recreational activity is it's not easy. Most organizations, most people who are ready and willing to do that have limited funds to actually do that. We realize that these children also suffer from attacks from education. Yes, school started in September, but in the Northwest and Southwest region, we had a 2-week break because the NSAC declared that their own school year has not started. That's an attack. And so these children, with this trauma, the children cannot frequent education as expected. So there are constant attacks on education on the children, on the teachers, on the learning facilities, and this is a whole lot that has to be handled. If we look at this, all these things that are at stake, the issues, these needs, the question is, what do we do? What is the current situation? Like I indicated, I said 31 partners are currently working. These 31 are because they are partners who are reporting at the level of the cluster that this is what we are doing. So that is why we have that figure. A lot more are doing it, but they are not reporting. So we cannot really have information on who is doing what if they are not reporting. So based on this situation overview and need overview, the education cluster designed an intervention strategy on EIE for 2023-2025. And there are 3 main objectives which I want us to look at. The first one is to ensure that children have access to quality education in a protected environment. The second one is that the second objective is to ensure that these children are taught by teachers who have been trained on key issues like psychosocial support, because it is only from there that these children can have protection. Yes, education offers protection, but if the educational stakeholders, if the persons involved in the teaching of these children do not have knowledge on psychosocial support, on peace education, on mental health, and then they will not be helping these children to provide, or they will not be helping the children within the educational setting to provide the needed protection. We also have the third objective is to ensure that there is continuity in education by the creation of non-formal learning centers or alternative learning programs. And I want to say I appreciate Royalty for that, because what they are doing are alternative learning programs. So that is what they are doing perfectly fits into the objectives of education for the Global Education Cluster and for the Cameroon Education Cluster for 2023 to 2025. So if we look at the first objective, talking about ensuring that children have access to education, I'll reiterate here that in Cameroon, the government is responsible for the provision of education. But according to the 1998 law, it says in collaboration with other stakeholders, and that stakeholder or those stakeholders are you and me. So we are supporting the government to provide education. So based on that first objective, we realize that it is our responsibility to ensure that wherever these children are having education is safe and it is protected. These facilities should have access, or the children should have access to good wash facilities. They should have the essential teaching and learning materials. And like I said, I saw Royalty supporting the children with learning materials for school, which cues in with these particular objectives. It is also said that there should be the provision of essential hygiene materials for these children, because if that is not done, and then their health is at stake. We also have the second objective that talks about psychosocial support for girls and boys. So we realize that with this, it is recommended that teachers should be trained on the provision of psychosocial support, whether in the formal education setting or the non-formal education setting. MHPSS should be a task and responsibility of every educational institution. Also, there should be the provision of recreational materials in learning spaces, whether the formal or non-formal learning spaces. Then we should also train the PTA, because here we are talking about PTA, Parent Teachers Association, or members of the school board on the provision of psychosocial support, disaster risk management, how to reduce risk within institution. For the third objective, which is the provision of non-formal education or alternative form of learning, we have organizations or partners that are supporting with this. This can be done through e-learning, radio education programs, the digital platforms. It can also be done through the creation of temporal learning spaces, because temporal learning spaces is recommended in Cameroon. But I know at the level of the Ministry of Basic Education, they don't want to hear about community schools, but temporal learning spaces are permitted. So at this point, we need to create more temporal learning spaces in those communities where we don't have functional schools. We also need to be very careful when we are doing this, because the creation of this, we should take inclusion into consideration. Such spaces should be inclusive. They should be inclusive. Our learning materials for such spaces to be inclusive. So when we're talking about materials, we should be looking at having inclusive materials to use in these temporal learning spaces. Now, this is what we have as the needs or the objective, for the 2023 to 2025 academic year. Yes, that has been said. What are the challenges we have? We know what we have to do. As practitioners, some organizations have already been on the field and they are practicing what we have been talking about. But there's a lot of challenges that these practitioners are facing, that NGOs are facing, NGOs are facing, other community stakeholders are facing. So one of such challenges is that the capacity of some of these partners to physically access the local communities and have data is a big constraint. I remember in some of the communities where we were working, when you go to the community, it is difficult for you to actually talk with the people and get real data. Some of them are skeptical because they believe if they give you the expected data, they may be called black legs in their communities. So it is difficult at one point or in some communities to actually get data that can guide programming. Some respondents also are skeptical of the outcome of providing such data. Yes, they have the data, but they are skeptical of providing this data. So it's a big challenge on programming. In addition, we may have the data, we may have the strategies, but there is limited funding. I know for last year, the education cluster was not funded. It did not receive any funds from the HRP. So most people, we still need to do a lot of advocacy for education in this, in both regions. In 2018 and 2019, I remember NRC, Norwegian Refugee Council, classified the Anglophone crisis as the most neglected crisis in 2018 and 2019. Most neglected. And in 2020, I think, it was the second most neglected, which means for 3 years consecutively, nobody sees it as an issue. So we need to step out our game, do more advocacy so that our challenges can be looked into. Physical security is also another issue to access this community. Some of these communities are, most humanitarian workers or stakeholders are afraid to access some of these fragile communities because of the outcome. The non-state armed groups are there. Many have gone and have never come back. So I think that is one of the major challenges. And then another issue is harmonization and coordination by partners. We realize that harmonization of context is challenging. This partner is doing this, the next partner is doing something else. The Ministry of Education has its own formal curriculum that it wants the stakeholders to use. But the stakeholders and given that it's an emergency context, They understand exactly what they have to do in an emergency context, what type of education has to be provided, how they have to provide it. But between the government or the national curriculum and the non-formal curriculum, there is no harmonization, which is a big problem. We are using the radio education program. UNICEF is using the digital platform. Stretchers is using the TAL approach to learning. UNICEF is using the REB radio education program. Royalty is using career parenting. So we realize that we have no harmonization of the program. So we don't know what who is doing and where, which I think if we understand what we are doing and where is going to guide programming. Another major challenge is the fact that most partners are focused only on non-formal education and not concentrating on the formal education. Yes, we are struggling to give or to provide non-formal education in the conflict-affected region and in those fragile communities. What about these IDP children? What about those children who are now in urban areas and they are in formal education? What support do they need? So most partners focus on non-formal rather than formal education, and this is the gap because most interventions are targeting the non-formal education rather than both non-formal and formal education. We also realize that the needs are more than the number of partners who are ready to engage. So we need to encourage more partners to engage into education. So that said, I think I'll end this presentation by saying to probably support the transition from emergency to recovery, because what we are struggling to do, we want to shift from this emergency context, and we are trying to look at the possibility of building these children, developing them better. We need to understand what is at stake, what was done before, so that we can work on what was done before and improve it rather than moving away from it. Thank you very much, because I know from this we are going to improve what has been done and make it more better for these children to access education for this 2023-2024 academic year. Thank you.
I must confess that some of us think that we know what is on the ground, but just listening to you, I had to. Normally, I don't allow people to talk for that long because, again, the attention span of people is very small, especially on a program like this. People want something to, but I had to let you talk because it gives a lot of perspective to what the problem is. We can shout from today till tomorrow. I don't think many of us understand what is happening on the ground. We have some vague pictures, but Dr. Tebit, I'm going to take permission from your crew. I would like to get you on a special program just for that, an hour for us to go through that, okay? Because I think it's important. It's important for this conversation to be had. Many people don't know what is happening. We just see they have killed this one today. Oh, they have shut down the school. But when you're able to look at it from that perspective, that overarching perspective, I think nobody listening to you who has a conscience can come out tomorrow and say children should not go to school. Then the person is evil. I mean, two wrongs don't make a right, isn't it? We don't want to talk about the politics. I've declared it. We don't want to talk about that piece. But it's important that we also acknowledge that there's a problem. And I'm going to ask you two questions. But before I get to that, I really want to thank those who have been here. You guys, this fellow, Nicolo, the Womio, Nicholas. No, is your name Nicodemus or Nicholas? You and I have to figure that out, okay? Of course, there's the grandson who is on the program. Irene says, good job, guys. Efangwa says, wow. Nicolene, great job, Royalty World. Irene, more power to your elbow, Doris, for all you do. Callum, great job, Royalty World. Yeah, Yanka, Jumba, I'm loving the discussion. Irene is really, following up. She's alive there. Beautiful presentation, easy to follow. Colleen, vocational education is truly needed. We are coming to that. Ngum, super. One of the greatest strengths of vocational training is the fact that it assures employment. Indeed. Great presentation following. We need to preach the career parenting gospel. We are coming to it. Many children need career parents. Please reach out and sign up. Start building the Cameroon you want to see. I can tell you the members of Mendem Foundation who are on. I can tell you when you start seeing these comments. Career parenting is the easiest way. Good, Mama. Thanks. This crisis is serious. Good. Preach, Dr. Moma. So we have all listened to that. It's sobering, isn't it? I don't know what adjective to use. The problems are so much. Dr. Chebit, somebody listening to you, I would say that before the crisis, there were many people who were not going to school. So why is it a problem now? I live in Maryland, okay? Down the street, there are schools all over. But I wake up in the morning, I'm dropping my kids off. There are people in the neighborhood who do not want to go to school. They have dropped out. They have everything they need, everything free, but they don't want to. Why are you so concerned about people not going to school? What's the problem? There have been people who have not gone to school for years. They will always be. What is the issue? Why are you so concerned about that?
Okay, thank you very much. Your question says, in Maryland or in Cameroon, when we're growing up, when we see children who are not going to school, some are in the market, we term them bad children. Most of those children choose not to go to school. It is their personal decision or the decision of their parents. But the situation in Cameroon is different. Like we indicated, the ongoing crisis put them in that situation. These children are caught up in the trap in which they didn't bargain. They are just victims of a situation. Yes, the protest began with teachers and lawyers because they were demanding for status on education, for some status on education. They later on spread to something else, and the whole community was involved. And these children who did not bargain for it were caught in the trap. And there was a closure of schools in 2016, a complete ban on education in the Northwest and Southwest region. So because of that complete ban, even those who had the opportunity, whose parents were ready to provide education for them, because of fear, could not provide education for them. Even at that 2021, when the non-state armed group even started shifting their perspective on education and said, okay, no, let private schools and confessional schools go operational, while public schools should not go operational, parents were still afraid because some of them could not afford the tuition for confessional and lay private schools. So it became another problem because the type of education that was provided could not be accessed by everybody. Truth be told, there are persons who cannot afford for 2 meals, not to talk of paying a 25,000 francs for a school in Cameroon. In addition, not only does that occur in the crisis-affected region, in the host communities, we happen to have run a project in Douala, the Street to School project, where we realized that most of these children who moved from the Northwest and Southwest region to access education in the littoral region could not even access education because of the financial socio-economic situation. They could not cope and they ended up in the street. So we had to provide them education on the street, which means if they had the possibility of accessing education, they could have accessed education. So we had these 3 learning corners where we taught these children. At the end of that year, we succeeded to enroll 50 children in schools in Douala. So they were ready. As I'm telling you now, some of those children are in college. So education was used as a bargaining chip. And some of these children, or most of these children, more than 700,000 were victims. And then imagine we are talking about, we have a target for September of about 358,000 children who are in need of education. Yet we are only able to reach 76,000, which means if we have the resources, if we have what it takes for these children to access education, these children access education because they are children, people in need. People in need means An assessment has been done. The children have accepted, yes, we want to school. If you give us the opportunity, we will school, but the means is not there.
So
I think that is the reason. They did not bargain for that. And so they have been caught up in that web.
Right. So again, that was just meant to, I didn't want to put you on the spot, but I'm sure that's a pushback you're going to get from people who, and again, the other thing that I'm going to talk about is, are you going to choose education over life, or are you going to have life without education? That's a difficult bargain to have, isn't it? Because the argument has always been that, hey, let the spaces be safe. You just mentioned that, then schools can go on, isn't it? But I think it's a both and. It's not an either or. It's not either life or school. You can have that, and of course, there are people who go to school here, and by the time they're coming, we have mass killings every day here. There's no safe space. But let's not get into that. I see Ashu is not here, but before we get on, so that's a big problem, very huge. Access to quality education. And I heard about hygiene materials, and I remember that the Mendem Foundation has been doing something to supply some hygiene pads to school. So Mendem Foundation and Royalty World, you have heard the problems, many of them, and the solutions. They have given you a list of possible solutions to this. Tell us, what are you guys doing?
I think is Siri on? She had her slide fired up and ready to go.
Yeah, so I can come in there.
Okay.
All right, I'll put it up though. Then you can.
Yeah, go ahead, Doris.
Yes. So thank you so much, Dr. Tebit. I see Gang. Are you there? Are you guys ready? Unmute yourselves.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, we're here.
Okay. So answer your question.
So what is Royalty World doing to solve the problems that we just heard, that we just listened to?
All right, I have your slide up.
Hold on.
Okay. All right, I'm presenting already. All right. Okay, thank you, Jude. All right. Can everybody hear me?
So just go ahead, just be talking. Don't wait for. Just go ahead.
Let's go ahead.
All right. So my name is Cyril Imelda, and as I introduce myself, I'm programs coordinator for Royalty World. So I'll just be sharing with us briefly on the concept of career parenting, which we'll be using in Royalty World. For us, it's our holistic approach to child development. So just as Dr. Tabi was saying, education, the Anglophone crisis it remains severely underact, but ironically, I'll not go into to be detailing all the effects that it has. Dr. Tabi has already done that. So at Royalty, we believe that a proper education positions people to grow in every area of their lives, creating an awakening, creating curiosity. It's beyond the classroom, beyond just going to school, studying history, geography, maths, and the rest. It's about triggering people to think. It's about triggering people to be curious, to ask questions, and to bring about solutions to communities. And now more than ever, we need this awakening within the Anglophone regions, the Northwest and the Southwest regions of Cameroon, which has been plagued for the past 7 years. There's need for people to think beyond the four walls of the classroom and to begin asking, what can we do? How can we make things better? And we believe that together we can change the education narrative within these regions and position young people to build rather than to destroy. We believe that it's something of the mind, and if we begin to condition young people to think productive, to think rebuilding, to think about their nations, then we're going to be seeing the transformation that we really are craving for. At Reality War, we also envisage a thriving, a prosperous, and a sustainable Africa. That's our mission. And we believe that education is key.
Yeah, your network is a big
this
problem.
success.
Yeah,
Three
your network is
keywords.
a big problem there, Cyril.
A thriving, a Africa. Okay. Oh, can you hear me now?
Try again.
Okay.
We're good?
Yes, go ahead.
So in 2018, Reality War started reaching out in the Bolifamba community, helping young people to go to school. We already heard that in the Bolifamba community, there are over 15,000 displaced persons. And we started reaching out to persons in the Bolifamba community in 2018. But it's in 2020 that we really got engaged in it because we saw the need after a survey we did, and we discovered that 8 out of 10 young people were out of school because of the crisis. And so we saw that there was a need, and we realized that there was need to go into the education program full time. So since then, we have been sponsoring.
Okay. Maybe I'll just continue if it's better.
From 2018, right?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let me just continue. Okay. Yeah, so Sri is really talking about the concept of career parenting, and in 2020 we actually took this on, and we set a goal to provide 500 fully funded scholarship for vulnerable kids and youths and adults. Yeah, so it's a whole combination. I think the Hotebi really put it well, in the sense that we identified that most of these organizations, INGOs, and other local NGOs were providing more of the informal education than the education. Yes, the community schools were there, but then there is still a huge gap because formal education is also still very, very needed. And I think that is the difference. That's where Reality Work comes in and makes that difference, because it's holistic in its approach. So our goal is really to see that, by 2026, we can have about 500 fully funded scholarships for vulnerable kids and youths, and then also for adult literacy programs for 250 youths. She talked about vocational training, which is very, very important if we are going to rebuild, because we've moved from the emergency stage now and we are into recovery. If we want to rebuild our communities, then it is very important that everybody at least gets an education. Now, for 7 years, some people have not gone to school. It's unrealistic to tell them to take them now and send them back into formal education to start again from square one. So, and again, for some of the mothers of the kids that we sponsor, they cannot help their kids with homework. So we are introducing, we also have adult literacy that we are introducing, and we are teaching the mothers of these kids at least get basic literacy of learning, numeracy and literacy, that's reading and writing. So in 2019, 2018, we had 6 fully funded scholarship awards. 7 in 2019, 2020, we had 7 fully funded scholarship awarded. When we say fully funded, we mean that we send them to school. I think Dr. Tevi rightly put it, in Bolifamba, for instance, that's one of the heart of the crisis. They don't allow the government schools to operate. So we had to sponsor these kids in lay private schools out of Bolifamba, in Moliko. And these kids now have to, there's transport that comes with it. And she talked about WASH, which means that there is hygiene for the kids. We have to provide pants for some of them who cannot afford the pants, those basic things. So that's the holistic nature of our program. And I think in 2020, actually, we started looking into this, and we understood the importance of career parenting. That means that, you know, you have a spiritual parent, you have your biological parent, but we started thinking about how do we really make this model sustainable. And we felt like we should open the doors for people to come in and take a child and then mentor the child. And so 2021, we had 36 funded, and you can see that there was a leap to 54. I think that's when Mendem Foundation really stepped in, and you can see there's been a leap from then, and from then on, you know, we moved from the time Mendem Foundation came in 2020 to now we are at 2023. We've had over 118 students we sponsored last year. So you can imagine that is really, really huge. And even though for most of those we did not have like full career parents, but then, you know, we were able through some other sponsorships to enable the rest of the kids go to school. So the whole idea of that is really addressing all of these things that Dr. Anne is talking about. Psychosocial support providing for those kids. They are there. We provide support for them. We may not be like the best trained, but they get that support, and their career parents as well. I mean, and for the case of the Kijems, for instance, I'll take that case. They mentor this young girl who was raped, and she got pregnant. She had twins. And, you know, she was really in a difficult situation. She was raped by the military, and, you know, she was running for help, and she got raped. And now she finds herself with two babies and no father. They don't know their father. So now it's easy to just come and say, okay, I'll sponsor you in school, and not think about psychologically what's that child going through. And I mean, Patience has done an amazing job just mentoring her, being there for her. I mean, at times we wanted to give up on her, but they're like, no, we're not going to quit on this girl. And, you know, we continue supporting her, even though she might not pass her exams, they are there for her. That's what career parenting does. It goes beyond just sending money to a project, but it is about a person, a personal relationship, a connection with somebody that you are able to identify other needs that are beyond financial. And that's what they've been doing with this girl, for instance. And they don't just take care of her in terms of her school needs. These kids, her babies also are in the daycare, sponsored by them as well. Now, those kids stay in the daycare while Joshua can go to school. And that's not all. Apart from that, they also provide shelter assistance, in the sense of provide food for her family and other members of the family as well, benefit from that. So that's what we talk about real holistic intervention, right? So it's not really and you can see that is why we are really putting this package together as career parenting. And you know, I also have another case, for instance, I'll quote for Dr. Cheney. You know, this young girl, yes, she had someone that was sponsoring her to go back to school, but there was that missing. She had this issue with her father. She's a child, the mother is divorced, you know, and then the father is mom and father are divorced. The mom's husband does not want to see her really. The father's wife is not really accommodating. So what does she do? She finds herself in the web, even though she has a sponsorship, but yes, she cannot really see eye to eye. So the psychological trauma causes her not to be excellent. But then you have someone who comes in and they step in as parents. And for once, she knows what fatherhood means. She knows what it means to have a father that can be there to love her, and it makes all the difference. So that's really why we see that career parenting is really the way forward. And what we try to do as well is to connect children with people who, I mean, like the parents. Interestingly, it happened that way. God has just made it such that, you know, these children are always connected to people that are along the career path that the children want to follow. For instance, this particular girl, she's aiming to become a medical doctor, and now she's being mentored by someone who is already a medical doctor. So that's the thing, and we believe that that is the formula that we're going to use to build the Cameroon that we want to see. That is our approach. That is our model. That's what we want to preach. That's the career parenting gospel that we are preaching. We are saying that we need to be the hands and the feet of God in our community. And Diaspora, we are calling all of us, because guess what? You will still come here. You still need to be back in this land. And somebody said something. If you are not affected, if you're not infected, you are affected. Because, you know, if we don't take care of these kids, if we don't hold their hands, I mean, in Cameroon, the statistics is that about 4 out of 10 kids are on drugs, because they may have the way to go to school, but if they don't have somebody to truly mentor them, then they find themselves in, doing illicit, carrying out all those social ills because of the traumatic situation, the whole drama we find ourselves in at this point. So that's why we are really pushing for career parenting, and we say that is our approach, that is our gospel.
So I think this an innovative model. Well, I've not heard this before, but I find it quite innovative in the fact that it's not about people just pushing money and having a child go to school. And that gets back to my point. There are many people who can sponsor 1,000 people to go to school. At the end of the day, the result may not be what you want, because education is much more than just going to school, isn't it? And I think that you guys have put your finger on a very important aspect. And congratulations, the Kijems, Dr. Cheney, congratulations. And I think you of the Mendem Foundation, I have a problem with you guys because your messaging seems to be only within a certain network. Those of us outside that network, it's difficult for us. But before I leave you, Doris, just tell us, in financial terms, you cannot put a figure to parenting, isn't it? But what would it take for somebody if somebody really wanted to become a career parent? What does that entail? Financially, and because there are many people here who are looking for kids. They are married, they don't have children, they don't know, they're crying. Who is this famous one, Angelina Jolie and co, who go to Africa and adopt kids and bring them here? That can be done. But tell us, in terms of financial value, somebody just listening to you and said, "Oh, this was fantastic. I really want to join this." What should they do?
Okay. Yes. So the first thing is it's a case by case thing, because depending on the class of the child, depending on the school where the child attends, depending on if there is an examination class, so it really varies. So I'm just going to give a range. For it's averagely about between 150,000 francs for a primary school child, averagely, and for a secondary school child, the average is about 350, which includes books, it includes maybe transport to go to school, as I highlighted in Bolifamba, for instance. Most of the schools are not here, so they have to go out. So it includes transportation. And that's not all that that's not all that it entails. What it entails, the most important thing is that connection. For instance, there are things that happen that are beyond words. I remember Dr. Cletus's career child, the carer, writing to me and saying, her mother had been sick for a while and the woman could not even walk. And, just seeing that someone stepped into their life and was doing beyond. And for him, he's really that one of those people who spoil their children and like, okay, you know what, take this money for your upkeep, other than just out of the school fees. And this mama had to step out of her bed, and she, is healed because of that. So I'm saying the effect is really, it's beyond that. So on top of the financial thing, what it needs as well is that sensitivity of being concerned about this family. Again, our co-Dr. Cletus, he goes beyond that. He started a program, TLA, that's the Transformation Leadership Academy. And from that program, we are also introducing, and again, Dr. Ann, I'm sure I will work with you to improve this program. We are introducing Teach to Inspire, which means that the Transformation Leadership Academy through Dr. Cletus is sponsoring a program that we are teaching the teachers of the schools where our children go. So we are helping them to understand emotional intelligence, helping them to understand self-management, how to manage classroom, how to teach children in crisis. So we are not just allowing the children to go to school. We had meetings, most of the schools where our children go last year, and we're able to highlight the things we think they can improve on. And then now we are having these sessions with their teachers. We're running a pilot program with 3 of the main schools in Bolifamba, and the teachers come in every week, and we have a facilitator that takes them through some of these learning programs, just to help them, prepare them, for them to be able to take on to teach the children more effectively. So I think most of the things you see with the challenges that Dr. Ann mentioned, in our approach, those things are handled, because the career parents, they think beyond. They are thinking, okay, what can we do? How can we improve on this process? So that's really what it takes. And then university too, depending on whether it's a professional school or UB, the fees are also different. Yes. So what it would take is, first of all, demonstrating interest, and then we will send you a link, and you can identify. Maybe you read a few stories of children, and you can connect with any of them. One you relate with, then from there we take it on from there.
So we moved from 36 to 59, and we are currently at 118. And I heard you say you want to have 500 fully funded scholars by 2026. We are 3 years away, so it means we have a need of 400. So let me take one. I want you to send me a child who wants to be a priest. That's a career that jokes aside, I'll take one. Anyone that is interested in journalism, okay? Any child that is interested in journalism, I'd like to take that.
You see?
While we are on it, because again, they mentioned your name a couple of times here and you have not said anything. You have started something too in this in this direction, isn't it? An academy, leadership academy and all that, because that's also part of the problem with our education system. We are not doing anything to make sure we are training leaders. So from where you are, Florida, how are you connecting and what is the impact you are making together with the foundation that you are part of? Give me that in 30 seconds.
Well, well, really, it has really been a very, very simple issue because the platform through Mendem Foundation was already there. And we have Doris with the Royalty Wall with a fantastic team that was already there. So it makes the job very, very easy. And I think that's that's an encouragement to a lot of Cameroonians that are trying to do something back home but don't know who to communicate with. The Royalty Wall has really created a really great platform for people to do something with. Was that 30 seconds?
A little bit more, but I'll take that. But thank you very much. And you touched on something there. Yesterday I went downtown DC to a men's shelter, and there's a gentleman who was working with me. The white guy is about 70 years. So he turned and asked me, "Where are you from?" I said, "Maryland." "What do you mean by where am I from?" I mean, I was just teasing because I knew exactly what he was saying. I said, "I'm from Maryland." He said, "No, you seem to have an accent. That's all." I said, "Yeah, you too have an accent. What part of the US are you from?" He ended up saying that they ran up, they sponsored a girl in the UK last year. And the girl has just graduated and wants to go back to Cameroon because she thinks she's going to be more effective. So I think she might have been talking to Doris before. But but he ended up asking me, "How many Cameroonians do you think are in the United States?" And that got me thinking, how many Cameroonians are here? I said, just around Maryland, I think 10,000 will be an average number, because the number of Achu houses that we have here is an indication that there are many people here. But the point I'm making is, I don't think we should wait till 2026 to get 500. If we have these many Cameroonians around, why can't we become ambassadors and everybody just take one child? It's $200. That's 100,000, 300 for the child in primary school. You can do that. And I think a lot of us, maybe it's the lack of the opportunity, maybe people are just fed up and all that. And that is why this platform for you guys, Mendem Foundation, Royalty World, this is great. And I really want us to spend more time really making sure that we can give ourselves some basic targets. Say between now and next month, can we get 10 kids? And build that up and see how we can, because this is the most important work that we should be doing out. God's will. I know you have not said anything because you guys have internet problem, but because you are part of the royalty, tell me a little bit about the work you guys do. And I'm talking about you as the man on the ground, isn't it? Don't look at your boss. I know your boss is on the program, but tell me what you do yourself. Is your connection good?
I think he was with Imelda, so they were both having the same connection. So I'm sure he's having that same connection issue.
Are you guys good now?
Godfrey is having challenges. Actually, he's having challenges with his network as well.
Okay. So then try he talk
Ibrahim, you want to say something?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys, your connection, we need to do something about it. Let me come
Yeah,
over
so you're
to
asking us what we're doing at a level?
Yes, just tell me, give me an experience, something that has touched you, something that has moved you, because I don't know why you'll be interested in doing this kind of work. Give me an experience that really moved you, and you think that is something that you can share for people to understand the great work that the royalty world is doing. You don't need those slides anymore because it's a personal question.
Okay, so no, I don't need the slides anymore. This is something personal. I don't need the slides anymore. So I feel that one of the biggest problems we have in our African communities is the absence of role models. That's one of the problems I think we have. So children grow not having any image of possibility, who they want to really look like, or somebody they can just mimic and become that person or become more than the person. And the best thing for me working in royalty world is the success stories that we get to record as the days go. You see a child who could not read, who came hopeless, a child who came not smiling, a child who came dressed tattered, and in a few months and in a year, they're looking all transformed, and you see them glooming and smiling, and they're jumping left and right, and they're coming to the office with so much confidence. That's just what keeps us going. That's the drive for me. Every success story for me is a testimony, and each time we record one, I'm like, God, we need more. So that's it for me.
So I'm going to tell your boss to increase your salary. Your English is very good. I love that, and I don't say this. I have one of my pet peeves is I don't do people who don't speak English well, even though I'm from Com. But I love that drive. That drive is very important. The lack of role models within the community is something that I think Mendem Foundation has. You can see some of them on stage. Dr. Cheney, Dr. Clay, those are good role models, and we need more, isn't it? And I like the fact that people come in and within a short time, you are able to transform them. Because again, one of the things that I picked up from everything you have said here is about a mindset. We need that mindset shift, that transformation, our minds. And within the context of the crisis, it's easy to remain within that mode, isn't it? And not get into it. Jude, I know you have two things to do, but before I get to you, because we are running out of time, I can talk till tomorrow, but I have some other things to do. Miss Vivian, you're in Douala, isn't it?
Yeah, you're muted.
You're muted. Yes. So you are in Douala. I'm wondering how you became involved in this project.
I actually have a crazy story with Doris. You know, I met Doris in 2019 through a menstrual hygiene project. You know, we got connected. We were both passionate about that special problem, helping girls to manage their menses. And I noticed that she had an organization, and I'm interested in developing small organizations. So as I said, I'm a graduate in international development. And when I came back to Cameroon, I had a hard time getting a job. So I decided that I will start with a small organization and I will grow. And my dream is having a consultancy with not-for-profit organization. So actually, Royalty World is my pilot organization.
So where you came back from Cameroon? Where were you?
Yeah, I spent like 5 years in South Africa. And in South Africa, I studied international development with a US institute, university, I mean, you know. So I came back to Cameroon. You know how the system is. I had a hard time getting a job into humanitarian. So I decided to create my own opportunities.
Wonderful. Mindset, again, right there, mindset. Somebody left the UK, you left South Africa, you met back there, and it's working. So let's not be giving these excuses. It can work, and we can make it work. Dr. Cheney, your Mendem Foundation. Okay, before I get to you, Jude, I hope you have your video ready for your career parenting. Tell me, because Doris just exposed you here and said you are taking care of somebody, you are a career parent, and the thing is working. I mean, where do you have the time as a medical doctor? Because I know you guys are always running calls here in the United. All my friends who are medical doctors, I see them once a year. So where do you have the time to become a career parent? Because again, remember, it's not about the money. You could sponsor 100 kids, isn't it? But getting that time to be able to go beyond that, how is that working for you?
And let me just say that Dr. Cheney does not just have a career parent who is a student. You know, Dr. Cheney also career parents the staff. So some of them are Dr. Cheney's career children.
Good. Let me hear you.
Jude as well. Even Jude. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you, and it's been it's great, and I think I'll just piggyback on what Dr. Clayton said. It's all about having the right institutions and having the right foot soldiers.
Yep.
Making the time is easy. Like it's easy to be candid, not just to make a statement. It is so simple. It is almost difficult to believe that it is possible. By the time Mendem Foundation is there to make the organizations, one, to sponsor, yes, you send money, but one thing we did for Mendem Foundation, which I will piggyback, was to set a very robust system where you are able to get an income tax document where I can use to file back when I do my taxes here in the US. So most of what I spend that goes through the foundation is tax deductible. And I thought I'd bring that up so most people know from that point. Even right to the point where even if you want to donate through your job and get your job to sponsor, we have all those mechanisms set where we just need to get in contact with the HR of your company and we can get that going. Secondly, Royalty World has set everything in such a way that the needs and the desires of these kids, the curriculum they've set for them, I know ahead of time when I need to contact the kid, what is coming up, what time to make in. It could be in between seeing patients. I step right out, talk with them on a weekend, come in, talk with them. And the rest of her team picks up the things and they send you information way ahead of time. So you know exactly what to do. So that is what has made it very simple. An organization to easily send the funds and a set of foot soldiers that are so efficient and coordinated and dedicated in their ways to make this happen.
Wow. I've not forgotten about you, Stars. I'm coming to you next. But I really just want to say that Royalty, Mendem Foundation, I'm going to become your ambassador, okay? Between now and December, I'm going to try to get some of my friends because I mean, I didn't need to be talking here. I did not need to be talking. I should have let you guys just talk because me talking is subtracting from what you are saying. But Stars, tell me about the work that you are doing with these people because you are quite passionate, especially now that it's snowing in Colorado.
Well, thank you, Mr. Lambert. I've always been one of those individuals that like to walk in the background. So I'm not more of a people person per se, but I like to be an environmental factor that helps clean up when things are very difficult. So being part of Mendem Foundation gives me the opportunity to see that helping these kids also open a window or forum for other people to say, I want to be the change that Cameroon needs. So year and year right now, I want to call all the Cameroonians, near and far, wherever you are. If you do the convention right now, the exchange rate is 601 for $1. So if you do the convention rate, you can sponsor at least a child for 126 26 CFA, which is about $210. And you can, if you don't have the money right now, you can say, okay, I will take a child and prepare for upcoming school year in December or upcoming school year in September and start putting $20 aside. And Mendem Foundation will help you with the calculation. Mendem Foundation will help you match whatever amount you have to help these children. Because we all sitting in this room today, or be in America, or be in the diaspora, we are where we are because somebody did not give up on us. Our parents did not give up on us. So I'm calling each and every one of you to not give up on the kids or the peoples that we left behind. We should help them be the change that we want to see so that they can turn around and give back to our community. And education is one thing that, as my mom would say, take it by the hand and walk the child to school, because someday that child might be the president that you least expected. Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, I think your mom forgot to know that the president that we got, I don't know whose parent that one came from, but let's not talk about that. You have a question there, Dr. Tebit. Yannick is asking, if you are currently contributing to solving these educational problems at a mass scale and the data is not reported, what do you do to become part of the Cameroon education cluster?
Okay, thank you very much, Yannick, for that question. If you are currently contributing to solve these educational problems at a mass scale and the data is not reported, what do you do to become part of the Cameroon education cluster? I want to indicate here that the Cameroon education cluster is for the Northwest and Southwest. So if you are working in the Northwest and Southwest, yes, you can report that data. Secondly, if you are operating within an organization, a registered organization, then you need to present, you need to introduce yourself to the coordinators of the cluster, because the cluster is being managed by UNICEF and Plan International Cameroon. So those are the two organizations that take the lead in coordinating the Cameroon education cluster. So you need to indicate with them, they'll need to look at your track record before they include you in the cluster. And your data will only be obtained only when you are able to report through their 5W tool. So check if your organization is registered, then you need to connect with the coordinators of the cluster who will tell you exactly what to do. So you can get to Madame Doris at the end, she'll get to me, and then we can talk more on that. Thank you. Let us not reiterate on it here.
Yeah, so remember that you and I have a deal, and it has to be like next week. I want it to be like real hot next week. Okay, I'll connect, and then Jude, please let's get her on. We need this message to go far. So Jude,
okay,
you have,
that's fine by me. But before I switch off my mic, I would like to say something. I would like to appreciate Doris for something she said. She made mention of the fact that they are teaching the teachers that are teaching their children. That is something that is very, very important, teaching the teachers that are teaching the children. Because remember when I was presenting the cluster strategy for 2023-2025, I said children should be taught by parents, teachers who have been trained on the provision of psychosocial support. So if they are doing that, then they are already in line. In fact, they are faster than that objective. And secondly, we are looking at social and emotional learning. That is something that only about 2 out of 10 organizations are trying to do, or teaching, or applying on the field. We are talking about social emotional learning, teaching the educators on self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills. Children who have gone through trauma need to develop skills in relationship. Teachers who have gone through trauma need to develop skills in relationship. Responsible decision making. Those are the 5 aspects that are involved in social and emotional learning. Self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. Once our educators, our children have knowledge on this, we'll better manage the problems that are plaguing our communities. So it all goes around the circle on the provision of psychosocial support, which is a to-do by every organization. Thank you.
Don't go away because you said you're switching off your video. Stay on because everybody will have a minute to say something. But Jude, come on, this thing is your baby. Talk to us about being a career parent, and it seems you have a video.
I have a slide. So
Okay.
I'm just gonna get to it. Hopefully you guys can see it. Yes. So of course, we started off by introducing Mendem Foundation, Royalty World. Everyone is aware, everyone knows what we all do, and we gave the opportunity. Dr. Tebet really explained the problem. We see the problem. Um, Doris and the team have explained how they're tackling the problem, and you've seen the connection between Mendem Foundation and Royalty World and how we work together to arrest this problem. So, from Mendem Foundation perspective, and what is it that we are trying to really achieve today? And we're pushing the idea of career parenting as the main tool to really tackle the issue of education. And Doris and the team have done a good job explaining to everyone exactly what career parenting is about. So I'm just going to jump straight into it and talk about it from our perspective and how we are trying to drive the narrative here in the diaspora and what we in the diaspora can really do to get this problem. So the foundation, we all know we started 2020 and we've been pushing ever since then. Education is really key to us. It's really our main driver in all the projects that we do. So when we started for the 2020, 2021 academic year, we pretty much picked up 14 kids that we sponsored. And I think all those kids were probably in Bamenda only, even though it ranged from primary school all the way to university level. But we just had 14 kids there. Then you jump to 2021, and the 2021 academic year, you see the amount raised for school really jumped. We're looking at 18,000, picking up 45 kids. That's when we got really engaged with Royalty World. We expanded the area of coverage. You're talking about kids in Bambenda, you're talking about kids in Limbe, talking about kids in Boya, Douala, Yaoundé, in terms of coverage. And I know Jeff has already mentioned the idea of, for those in the diaspora, especially in North America, you have that possibility of your donations being tax deductible. That is an interest for some people, but not for all, but just something for everyone to be aware of. And then now for last year, getting to 2021, 2022 academic year, you see it again, another jump. It's just been a growth in terms of number of kids sponsored. We're looking at 56 kids that we jumped into. And this year we're looking at 73. So you can see how we are growing the dream and how things are shifting. And we really want everyone to be on board. We are very, very pleased with the work that is being done. Our collaboration with Royalty World is incredible. The response is just incredible. And we are just hoping to continue to push. And if you look at it, we've heard a lot about holistic approach to education. I think Doris did an amazing job really explaining what it is that it comes. Again, we're talking tuition, book, uniform, transportation, after school check-ins, remedial classes, excursion, birthdays, the simple things. And so it's all about telling the kids that we see you. You're not just a number on the board. We're not just throwing money at the problem, but we are coming into it, treating it like our own, and giving these kids an experience. Some of us maybe did not even get the food that kind of an experience. And I know Doris talked a lot about the psychological, emotional effect of this whole problem and how we are focusing on it, making sure that this is on a holistic approach in how we want to tackle the issue of education and protecting the kids. And again, career parenting is really the driver. And here you can just see pictures, and you can see, they just speak for themselves. You can see Jeff with his career student. You can see myself there because I was home a couple of months ago to really meet up with the kids. It's transformational when you think career parenting as the main tool to attack this problem. The kids are looking for role models, and a lot of us are in that position to be those role models, to provide not just the financial support needed for these kids, but the emotional ones, giving them something to dream about. And the people in the diaspora have a very unique role. a very, very powerful role to effect change through these kids, and that's really what we are trying to push. And again, Royalty World is the best partner we could ever wished for. The fact that this whole thing has been so successful, it's because we have the right partners on the ground. I don't know if my slides are still flowing through or not.
Your slide is stuck. You know, we were stuck on the Mendem Foundation. Nothing went through since then.
Oh, sorry. Let me just give me 1 second. Let me see. And there was I yapping away, thinking that my slides.
You're better off without the slides.
I think I am. All right, so I just went through, the history of where the money has been and all of that. And so partnering with Royalty World has been the best thing for us, because that's usually the big problem. Getting the right partners, the right boots on the ground to really, really drive the work. And they have done an amazing job in doing that process for us. So we are very happy to have Royalty World and doing the work for us. Okay, I think the slides working now. Let me just go to where I was right there. So there you could just take some pictures of the kids and after school program, the remedial classes, studying, and then there's a birthday celebration going on. And again, it's all about giving those kids an experience and a full experience in that matter. Here you can see Jeff and his career student, myself and my career student, and you can just see the smiles in their faces, the transformation that comes with being a career parent. I mean, it's so fulfilling for us doing the work, and we are hoping that others will join this movement to continue to effect change. Being home and connecting with Royalty World was just a mind-blowing experience for me. I'm very, very in tune with the work, but had never been on the ground to really see what was being done. And I had the opportunity 2 months ago to go home. I met the kids, I met their parents. I went to the Royalty World Center. We had training sessions in Excel, photography. I looked at our processes. It was a life-changing experience for me. When you put in your money and your time, and looking at it from a distance, right? Being in America, you know you're doing, you're making a difference. But being there and really seeing that change was very transformative for me, and I cannot emphasize enough the difference that we are making. These kids are looking up to us, and we just need to keep doing the work. I came back a really changed man. And just looking into the eyes of those kids, looking into the eyes of their parents, and you could see the gratitude. And then you look around again, you still see a lot of desperation. You see that there's so much that can still be done. And so we should not relent. We need to keep pushing to do the work. And here you see a couple of our career students that we have. Abibatu in the middle. It's a very, very unique story. Someone who sponsored herself through secondary and high school and could not afford to do it because she was going into a professional program to study and translation, and we stepped in, and it's been a whole different world for her. And all the other kids you see from Epiphany to Toll Constance, and when you listen to them speak, and then you listen to Doris tell you the beginning, how they came into the center, how they were all, they looked broken, they looked like, like there was this dark cloud over them. They couldn't look you in the eye. They couldn't express themselves. There was that level of desperation, and now they are able to stand and speak in public. They are confident. They can articulate their dreams. Again, it is thanks to the work, in the classroom and outside of the classroom. The work that Doris and the team are doing, connecting with these kids and having those conversations. And again, this is an opportunity for us to become part of this, because they cannot do it alone. They need our help to drive all these changes that we're looking at. And so again, we are in the process of engaging the diaspora. We're pushing again that the diaspora plays a critical role in really getting the work done. Financially, we are in the position to do a lot of change, a lot of good. I know we've talked about career parenting, the high level one where you're all engaged and everything, but it doesn't end then because not everybody has the time. Maybe you just have your money to give. That's going to go a long way. You might want to take on a career student, but you are not able to pay everything in one go. We would give you the opportunity to do it in installments. That's why Mendem Foundation is there for you, to break it down, to make it as easy as possible. You don't have the time, we have the time. We have the time to collect the money in pieces. We have the time to gather the data that you need. We have the time to, to provide you with all the information, with all the tools. And for those who have the time, who want to go the extra mile, we are more than welcome. You're more than welcome to join us at any point in time, so you can get, all the information that you need and to push this process. Again, you have Mendem Foundation here in the diaspora. You have Royalty World in Cameroon, and we have you. We need you at the beginning of this process to make this thing work. All right, you have a well-oiled machine at the disposal. We have all the different means to donate, from PayPal to Cash App to Zelle to corporate matching that Jeff mentioned. You have your company. A lot of Cameroonians are not aware of this. A lot of companies do match donations. So you want to maximize your donation, go through your company. We are registered with these platforms that manage corporate matching, like Beneviti, CyberGrant. A lot of companies use those platforms to match donations. All of that, we are here and ready to be that facilitator. Our main job is to pull the diaspora, pull our resources together, and make sure that Doris and the team have the tools that they need to do the amazing job. They have the capacity. What all they're waiting for is for us to step up, provide the finances, provide the support, so they can push this process further. So right now, you can see how Doris talked about the dream. How many career parents do we have right now? We just have 13 under the Mendem Foundation umbrella in the diaspora. That's a really small number, and most of them are members of the executive and a few people from outside. So there is just an enormous room to grow, and so this is our objective here. We need to push this number. 13 cannot be the number for it to work. We under Mendem Foundation say, we need to push to get at least 100 by 2025. That again to me is a very small number. We can go way beyond that. And again, that's our call today. We want people to get engaged so we can push. So the question now remains: are we ready to become part of this? And again, you can come in all different ways. Some people have decided to be anonymous. We have anonymous career parents right now. We're like, you guys handle it. Maybe somewhere down the road, I might want to introduce myself. That is fine. If you don't want to be a face to be seen, please bring in the money, bring in whatever support you can, and we will take it. Now, if it looks like a heavy task, do you want to break it out and do monthly payments or quarterly, whatever the case? We just picked up 2 kids in Sacred Heart. It was a huge amount of money that we had to handle because the kids owe money from last year and this year, and they were well placed in the expulsion list, being ready to be kicked out of Sacred Heart. And of course, we had a good Samaritan step up and say, you know what? This is a lot of money. I can't pay it in one installment, but I can get it done by December. And now those kids are back in school. They're not going to get kicked out. The principal knows that he's guaranteed that by December that will be taken care of. Again, just giving examples of how you can get involved. You don't have to go all the way. You can come in little bits, and we are here, and that's why we are here. We are here to make sure that we facilitate the process. We get all the information that you need. And then we push it out. And we want you to be assured that this is a well-oiled machine. We are not just picking, out of thin air. Jeff has been home to see the work. I was home 2 months ago, and I came back, completely blown away at what Royalty World is doing. And we are very keen on not just providing for the kids in need, but also making sure that Royalty World is equipped to do the work. And that's why when I went home, training was part of the was on the agenda, listening to them and their issues. So we need to take care of them so they can take care of of those in need. Again, join us. It's a very unique opportunity that we have, and I don't think you can have a better platform to effect change in the homeland. And we're calling on everyone. I think everyone has my number. Jeff is available. Doris is always available, and you can see how infectious her Doris is. You need to talk to Doris just once, and you are sold. You know that you have the real agent of change. I'm doing the work that a lot of us cannot do, but we have other opportunities, money being one of them. And so let's put smiles on the faces of these kids. Let's give them the opportunities that we had. One of the reasons why we the class of 91 really got into this is because when we went into Form 1, that's right when we had the SDF unrest environment that we got kicked out of school for 3 weeks. A lot of us don't remember it because it was just a blip in our academic careers. We didn't have to repeat the class. Nobody had any issues. So a lot of us have forgotten about it. But these kids are not as fortunate as we were. We had 3 weeks and we went back to our normal lives. These kids have been out of school for years. And when I started this whole thing, getting into it, I was really shocked to see 14-year-old in class 6. It was unheard of in our times. So we have a very, very unique opportunity. And thank you so much, Michelle Lambert, for hosting us. And we are really, really hoping that this will spread wide and far, and people will rally with us to really, like Doris would say, build the communities we really want to live in Cameroon. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much, Monsieur Jude, and thanks a lot. Clotilde says, sorry, I have to leave. I got schooled on what it takes to be a career parent. Happy I attended this. Thanks, everyone. Terence, technological challenge. I don't know what he means by that. Ngwafu Laura, Royalty World. Terence, you're right, Kijo. I'm sure they're talking about you there, Jude. Cordelia, this is me looking forward to becoming a CP. That's great. Royalty World. Tifu. So again, I normally don't do these long shows except I'm talking football or soccer with Phone Check here. But you see, this has been great. And I really want to thank each and every one of you for taking time to do this important work. We have all done evangelization today. We have all done some work for God this morning. I think it's important for people to take note about that. People think at times that evangelization means you should go and hold the Bible and be preaching in Bolifamba. So we know that there are 15,000 people in Bolifamba. I got those numbers. 15,000. 8 out of every 10 were not going to school. That came from Cyril. And we also heard that there were 358,000 children in need. And they have only been able to serve 76,000. That's a huge one, isn't it? So there are times when you can you feel that it's too much. You don't know what to do, it's too much. No. One thing that Doris, the royalty people told us today is just little steps. Do what you can. Just little steps. And there is no reason for anybody to complain because you have lots of places that you can. Now you know that there are 2 people you can trust in the world. We are moving to Thanksgiving. November, those of you who live in the United States, it's Thanksgiving time. A lot of turkey that's going to be thrown out. Many people will not eat that, isn't it? What of taking time to thank God by contributing something to Mendem Foundation and to Royalty World? How about that? How about a Christmas gift? It's going to be Christmas very soon. We cannot be talking about that. They are only 13, and Jude, please correct that, because I just pledged here that I'm becoming a member, so they're no longer just 13. So again, you cannot just be saying that. I know you don't want me to be a member of Mendem, but I'm trying to. But I'm saying that.
No, you should be a member.
Let's build that. It's shameful that we have 10,000 Cameroonians in one state, and there are just 13 people. Yes, everybody. I don't know of any Cameroonian who is not doing anything to support somebody or doing something. I don't know of anyone. But can you take a little bit, some more commitment to do something in a more structured way? Yes, you are sponsoring some other people. Think about this. Can I put aside? I spent last night at the cabaret in Maryland. We're partying all night. I just look at the amount of money that was spent there, and I'm like, maybe if I'd heard about this Mendem Foundation, I should have canceled that outing last night, isn't it? Because it's just a little sacrifice, a little. It's not much. And I really say, Jude and the team, please don't relent. I have signed up not just as a career parent, I'm going to be your ambassador. And we want to come back there. I would say that let's do something every month. We talked about this, Jude, last year. We did not follow through. Every month, let's come on and talk about one thing. It doesn't need to be long. 30 minutes, 1 hour, say something, because that's the way you have to keep talking. Then people, it's going to catch the flames that it needs. As a journalist, I'm not supposed to be talking that much, but I don't know. Doris, are you back? So now let's close, okay? Let's close, and I want everybody to take a minute, just say something. 2 hours, 10 minutes on a broadcast is a long time. Nobody has time for that. But you have that if you have breaks. We didn't have any, but I think that I'm moved, really moved, and it takes a lot to move a man like me because I'm very strong-willed. But I think that just listening to you guys, I am really moved and I'm very appreciative. Let's start with, well, Cyril, you may have, I don't know. Can you talk now? Hold on. We still can't hear you. You're muted.
Oh, you have to unmute. You're still muted.
Let me see something. I could not unmute. So try to unmute yourself. God's will. Can you say something? I know you have been on all along and you have not been. Can you say something? Can you unmute yourself?
Oh, okay, finally unmuted.
Okay. Okay. God's will, say something if you can, or you wait for Imelda.
Let me just go first. I think that when it comes to education programming within the Northwest and Southwest region, there's still a very huge gap, and it takes just one to lead a change. Yeah, and anybody who wishes to be able to support the work that we're trying to do, and do that without a lot of hassle on their side by working through the platforms we've already set. Working here, career parenting is a rather strange concept for civil society programming, and working through international organizations operating here is a little challenging. So we rely mostly on the diaspora to be able to fund the work that we're doing. And through Mendem Foundation, we have been able to get some people in the diaspora to support our work. But we know that there are many more, not just in the US, there are a lot of people in Europe, in Latin America, in Asia, and we're just calling on these people to be able to look back home and try to be that change. Thank you.
And God's will, thank you very much for the work you guys are doing. Thank you very much for that work. It's I used to be a teacher, and I know that the poorest people on earth are teachers. Okay, you guys are doing God's work. Continue doing it, and God is going to reward you guys. So, do you have anything? Can you talk? I think your mics are all going haywire.
Yeah. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I just want to say on behalf of my team here at Royalty World, I'm sure that most of the staff, they are following as well, that we are ready. We are ready. I think over the past months, we have been putting in place systems and structures, getting ready for growth and getting ready for more career parents who want to come in and more children. We've put those things in place already, so we are ready for what's coming. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And yes, I see. I mean, I'm sure this was made mandatory for all staff to watch, because I can see. I must acknowledge the impact of career parents in our various career paths and lives. Thank you. We are changing the narrative. So, Ngum Cordelia, the boss has seen that you are watching the program, so you are saved. Madam Vivian, any last word?
Yes, I really would like to thank Mendem Foundation and Royalty for the opportunity. You know, the royalty world of 2019 is no longer the same royalty world. You know, what we can assure you is we are working to have a strong organization, and we are growing. You can trust us. And where we are today, believe me, we can handle even $1 million US or more, you know, because we are growing our organization. We are putting the right structure in place. And for this year, we have been having the right people. So you are welcome to invest in us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to hear that you can handle $1 million. When it comes, I hope I'll see you. Okay.
You will see me definitely.
Dr. Jeffrey, thank you. I know, 2 hours of your time on a Saturday. I hope you are not at work today. Thank you for staying on, and I'm glad to connect with you guys. Any last word?
Yes, I just want to say thank you for hosting us, and just extend my special thanks to the entire team, Royalty World team, the Mendem Foundation team, and to let everyone know we are ready. We are ready. It's simpler than it looks. Don't be scared to take the step. Take the step. It could be for career parenting. It could be just one-time donation. It could be a quarter. Whatever you want to do, do something. Don't stay back. And rest assured, you'll be very pleased with the results. I think anything you do for charity is a very selfish thing, because whatever joy and whatever reward you get, nobody can take that from you, and that's very unique.
Yeah, like I realized that there were more staff that were present. Learned a lot on career parenting today. Thanks for the education, Cordelia. Thank you very much, Dr. Tebit. And I'm coming to you next, Dr. Tebit. It's a joy to serve and educate all, building a better Cameroon. Together we are doing it. Dr. Tebit, the new guest I'm going to have on my show. Any last words?
You have to unmute.
Dr. Tebit, any last word? Let me see what I can unmute. You have to unmute yourself.
I think you can just catch Doris while you have her, because she's been going on.
That country is truly cursed. The network there is a big problem, man. It's terrible. Come on, man. Okay, Doris, so you have been on and off. I'm sorry. I know 2 hours of your time on a Saturday is too much. Any last word while we have Dr. Tebi trying to unmute? Any last word? And again, thank you for the amazing job you are doing. Thank you so much. You are, I don't know what to say, but God is going to bless you abundantly. I don't have the powers to bless people because I left the seminary a long time ago, but I know that because there's no priest around, I can say this. God is going to bless you abundantly. Any last word from you?
Amen.
Oh, man, is she frozen?
Yeah, I think Doris is frozen. The connection was so good.
Okay,
Doris, can you hear her?
Okay, Stars. Any last word?
I just want to say thank you. It was good meeting you in person. I've heard a lot about you, but I've never met you.
Yeah,
that was good. And I also want to call our fellow Cameroonians. You don't always have to be a career parent. You can come in as a volunteer. We're looking for a lot of volunteer opportunities, both at home and here in the United States. As it stands, I'm the only Mendem Foundation representative in Colorado. So I would like to have some volunteers that I can collaborate with. And we need you in any form, shape, or other opportunities that you have. So thank you again, and thanks to each and every one of you here in the forum today. I just hope that just like you're blessing other people, you're also receiving blessings from the areas that you have deep into your heart that you desire the most. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stars. Thank you for coming on, staying on 2 hours in the snow. I mean, I can imagine that, but thank you for the good work that you're doing. Let's roll. Let's get more people onto this. We need to get many more people into this. Doris, are you ready?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. And so while we can
Can you hear me now?
Yes, just go.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to share. Thank you to Mendem Foundation for just loving us unconditionally, loving the community, and to say that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing to build the community that we want to see. And as Dr. Chenny will always say, we are the ones we have been waiting for. So that's my message. We are the ones we have been waiting for. Communities need us, and it starts with education. So I'm really waiting for more career parents. We have communities to build, and it's not going to happen because of anybody else, but it's going to happen because of us. It's not going to happen in spite of us, but it's going to happen because of us. So thank you all so much for joining in today, and I thank you to my amazing team, because without them, none of this can be possible. So just extending thanks to the whole team, to Vivian for, since 2019, it's just transformed everything, standing there, supporting us, all the team, Imelda, putting this together, God's will, working 1 week on this, and, Martha, who is not here, all of you, just thank you all so much. Thank you.
Yes, you can see that the Kijems are also humbled by the team, Royalty World and Mendem Foundation. Next time I get you on, I hope pretty soon, Doris, let's talk about why you named it Royalty World. Let's talk about that in our next show. But Dr. Tebit, any last word?
Yeah, thank you so much. I want to thank Royalty World for this opportunity and for the effort they are making towards supporting children with education, for the risk they are taking, because she is taking a big risk given where her organization is located, and for making a giant step like Mr. Ngang tempted, a strange approach yet holistic. We want to say you are doing a great job. Thumbs up, and keep on doing it.
And thank you very much, Dr. Tebe. Thank you for putting together that beautiful presentation. And like I say, we are going to mine that talk, mine it in such a way that those little details should go around the world so that people understand the sufferings of our people. So, Dr. Cletus, any last word?
Well, I think this has been one of those great experiences where, like my brother Jeff said, it becomes a very selfish act, because when God gives you something, you really need to showcase it. And when you go out there and you do that help, and you realize that you're the one being blessed by just seeing people being great and doing all this transformation. And I think all we can do is just say thank you, God. So on behalf of Mendem Foundation, the Road to War, which we have worked really hard to create a really great platform. I know that God will continue to use the team to really transform lives, and I'm really hoping that a lot of people will come and join this great act. As you said earlier, we are all doing God's work today. Let's not just rely on just going to church and going to Bible school. Let's come out and really do the work. Isn't that right, Father?
No, I think it's amazing. You can't I mean you can't beat this, okay? And let's end it. Let's close from where we started with the boss himself.
Is that me? Oh well, again, thank you so much for this opportunity, and again to the people in the diaspora. If you're looking for a well-oiled machine, people who have been tested and have the work to show for it, you're looking at them right here. Again, Jeff and myself have been on the ground to really see the work that Royalty World is doing. This. It's not a mistake that we picked them to do our implementations, and it's just amazing. I really want to thank Imelda, the work you did to put this thing together, the write-ups. I know Gang did so much with the graphics. That was amazing. There was so much work done behind the scenes, and Martha, who could not be here, and being the brain behind, even coming up with the idea. You saw Cordelia putting up notes. Cordelia is the finance whiz, and my own career, how could I call it? Not career student, but career employee, I would say. We work together a lot. I know Tifu is not here, but she does a lot of magic with the kids. Laura with the daycare, it's just amazing. John with the cooperative. I can go on and on. There is a unique team in Cameroon, and at the head of that team is Doris. Just an amazing human being, and so we have a very unique opportunity. If you are given such a blessing, and then you throw it away, it's just, it's our loss. So we stand ready to do the work. We're just calling on everyone else to join us to do it. Everyone is doing their little piece. Michel Lambert is here offering almost 3 hours of his time and his platform to get this done. I think there are so many other people in our community that can do just little things that will just continue to push that conversation downstream. And we're very hopeful. And like Jeff and Momisa said, this is a very selfish act. The gratification that you get from doing the work is just amazing. And we just want to keep pushing. Thank you.
So thank you very much. And like I said, let's try to schedule something every month. Let's do a 30 minutes or 1 hour, just highlighting what is going on, and keep on Dr. Tebit. I'll reach out to Jude and Doris so that we can schedule something. But I really want to say thank you and congratulations. I am starting my ambassador work tomorrow. The Cameroon Catholic community here in DC meets every last Sunday of the month. So we have mass tomorrow, and I happen to be the one taking announcements. So I'll be talking about this tomorrow, and hopefully I can tell you, Jude, that there's one person or two people or three. But this for me has become my new passion, and I'm going to make sure that that number 500 looks like it's too big, but it's not. We really can do this. We can do this, and let's all rally behind this. Mendem Foundation, Royalty World, let's get this going. So thank you for those who have been watching. Thank you for the time. It's been a pleasure spending a Saturday with you. Let's go and find out what is happening to Ganu with the fight. I don't know whether he lost already, but let's go see. Thank you. Have a good afternoon. Have a good evening in Cameroon. See you next time.
Thanks, guys.